We have big news. We have exciting news for you. Tell them what it is, Serena.
We are super excited to announce that we are starting our first membership this January 2024.
Yay! Membership.
So we're excited to let you know that we will be hosting a monthly membership where when you join, you will be
With us live in a Zoom room once a month for a workshop like we just hosted. It's going to be a workshop like that, one topic each month, a different topic. You might even help us come up with the following month's topic from inside our membership. Super excited to meet you. It was so fun meeting a few of you in our inaugural workshop. So we're really looking forward to that.
And when you are a member, you will also be receiving a monthly newsletter where I'm going to be a little more intimate and I'll be sharing the things that are working and the things that aren't working for me.
Yeah, like taking a tool that you've learned from the podcast and how you're implementing it and how well that worked, or maybe if it didn't work. And then Amma can put in my 2 bits worth. We'll see how that goes. But a membership newsletter and a membership live Zoom room workshop starting in January 2024. Can sign up through our Patreon link in the show notes. Yeah.
Yes, everything will be in the show notes, and we can't wait to see you there, listeners.
We can't wait. Yay.
Hi, my name is Serena. I am a mother to a toddler and currently pregnant.
And hi, I'm Lisa, also known as the Singing Amma. Amma means grandmother in Icelandic. I am a mama and an Amma.
At the beginning of my first pregnancy, I felt like I was lacking my village, which is why we are here creating a village with you, in hopes that you won't feel as isolated as I did.
I also felt the lack of a village in my early parenting years way back when. And I come to our village with a background in early childhood education. I have been coaching parents along their parenting journeys and supporting them for over 35 years.
Amma, Lisa, and I invite you to grab your latte
Or your tea
and come sit around the proverbial fire with us each week.
when we come together to have a conversation where we'll be talking all things parenting, keeping it real, keeping it raw, right here with you. Hello, hello. This is Lisa, the Singing Amma. In today's episode, I will read another of my previously published magazine columns, originally published in the Fishbowl magazine on Salt Spring Island, British Columbia, Canada. And after reading this column, Mama Serena will join me again, and together we will unpack today's topic. Today's column is entitled, Hold Your Babies. Dear Singing Amma, we are about to have our first baby. And I am getting overloaded with all the hype to buy a lot of new baby equipment. Which items are actually necessary for raising a happy, healthy baby? Signed, Consumerism Overload. Dear conscious consumer, thank you. You raise a question I feel very strongly about. The current trend to purchase the newest, the most fashionable baby gear available. The Singing Amma's preferences in childcare practices will guide you to a shorter list of necessary purchases. Number 1, an infant car seat. Necessary. If you plan to go anywhere by car, including home from the hospital if you have a hospital delivery. Purchase this item new and as early as possible. Unwrap it and let it off gas in a garage or other covered, outdoor if possible, area, or at least in a room away from your main living spaces. the off-gassing of these plastic items is pretty harsh. Ask at the fire department in your local area to find someone qualified to help you strap it into the back seat properly when your time is close. And then you will have the highest possible protection for baby. Number 2, stroller. Not necessary, actually. I am a strong believer in baby wearing, especially in the first days, weeks, and months of baby's life. Infant car seats that can be purchased together with a matching trendy stroller are designed to clip out of the car and either be carried with baby still lying against that hard plastic fabric-lined seat, or click right into the stroller. Easy and fashionable, yes, but best for babe? No, sorry. Our young are meant to be carried. More on that later. Number 3, baby carrier or sling or wrap. Not absolutely necessary, but I give them a big yes. This item, with your baby wrapped and strapped against your body, will free your hands to get tasks done while holding your little one in arms. Human infants require human touch in order to thrive physically, emotionally, intellectually, and as the social creatures we are. As often as possible throughout the day and night, please hold your babies. And number 4, a crib, bassinet, playpen. Surprise, surprise, not necessary. Most that are commonly available are made of MDF or some kind of particle board, which off-gasses toxins horrendously. Honestly, people. Really, really serious toxic off-gassing from these items. The family bed is a comforting and affordable option to research for your growing family. Baby sleeps right beside mama, safe and protective. Mama has to awaken less for night feedings. During the day, baby sleeps in the carrier attached to mama or caregiver's body, soothed by the sound of a human heartbeat and the sway of a body going about the day's activities. Hey, Mama Serena.
So I'm really excited for this one because it's exactly what I've been going through lately in preparing for my second baby. And thankfully, we saved all of my first baby's clothes, even though we weren't expecting to have a baby so close. And my first baby's clothes are actually all hand-me-downs from her cousin who's 8 months older than her.
Perfect.
And the people I'm surrounded by and just Facebook Marketplace, like there are so many hand-me-downs. There are people having babies right before I had my baby. And there's people who had just had their babies now before I'm going to have my baby again. And people who are having babies right after. It's just, I don't know if it's the pandemic baby thing going on, but there is always somebody pregnant or just had a baby. And there's so many things that you use for such a short time and then you move on. So much of it is so expensive.
Such a great conversation for the brand new moms with coming in for their first baby here, because you know, you don't realize that you get this gorgeous little outfit that they're going to wear, and you might get them into it when they're really little, like within 6 months, you might get them into whatever outfit once or twice or three times.
Yeah.
And the fancy ones, forget about it. You might get them into it once,
Once.
maybe, if you're
Maybe.
lucky on a good
Yes.
day.
Uh-huh. If you buy it for a certain occasion and use it for that occasion, but if you just buy it without an occasion, you're probably never going to use it.
Right, right. Yeah. And they're so cute. And they're so, you want to go and get all the most beautiful things for your
Everything is
baby.
so cute. Everything. But it's so funny because everybody around me has had a baby before, after. So I've been able to use used bassinets.
Mhm.
I got a used crib. Never used the crib
I never
because
used a crib either.
and the baby wearing, I had bought my aunt one when she had a baby, and then she passed that on to one of our cousins, and then I was next, so I got the baby wrap, and we've all been using, and
Yeah.
it's like new still. It was a nice
Yeah.
one. I think we got the Soli baby wrap, and it's also very true about the stroller because in the beginning when I had her, I was always wearing her. It was the most
Mhm.
comfortable for me and for
Mhm.
her
Yeah.
because sometimes if I laid her in those playpens, the pack and play,
Mhm.
I had one that was like a double layer, so you can change them on the top, and then once they're bigger, you put them in the pack and play at the bottom, which she never used because it's like a mini jail.
Yeah, right? It's like put them in a little cage. Yeah.
But like even going to the grocery store, I used to get so scared to go to the grocery store because I'm like, she's too tiny. How am I gonna put the car seat or have a stroller and push the shopping cart? You
Right.
can't do it with two hands. You can't
Right.
push two carts with two hands. And and then I realized, oh, you can wear her. And that was so much
Yes.
easier going to the grocery store, just doing anything because you have your two hands free
Mhm.
versus when you have a stroller and if you have to go shopping and then carry all that stuff, wearing your baby is
Baby
much
wearing is where
easier.
it's at. It's
Yeah.
so where it's at. I
Yeah.
mean, yes, a stroller, if you've got a good area that you can go for walks in, especially as your baby gets older, especially if you have a baby who's on the larger size of the
Heavier.
heavier weight, yes, a stroller is a fantastic thing. But
Hmm.
in those very first few weeks and even months for most of us, we can easily carry our babies strapped properly to our bodies.
Yeah. I had the Duna, which my mom got for me, which was honestly a great investment. It was a car seat that turns into the stroller. So
Uh-huh.
sometimes if we were going to be walking around for a long time or go somewhere as a family, and I knew I had the help of my husband and stuff, and we can push her around, the Duna was a great investment.
So
And
that's the kind where you've got the car seat, the infant car seat, and then it straps into a stroller or it becomes a stroller somehow.
it becomes a stroller. So you take the car seat out and then
Yeah.
it
Pop it
unlocks.
onto the stroller.
Well, it is the stroller. It just folds up tiny into a car seat. And then you put that into the
It's
base.
got all the wheels and everything on it
Yeah.
when it's in the car.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Never heard of it.
It's
So
all one.
here's what I want to talk about that. And I get that that was helpful for you and a good investment. But I want to say a few things. And this is not to make you or any other parents out there wrong about having that convenience. And I want us to look at the fact that if we put our baby, nurse your baby, change your baby, get them into their outdoor clothing wherever you're going, clothing appropriate, buckle them into their car seat, and away you go. Then, so maybe it's a half-hour drive, let's just say. Then, when you get to your destination, you pick that car seat up, you unfold it and it becomes a stroller, or you clip that car seat into the matching stroller, whichever. Then you push that stroller around for how long? For an hour, for 2 hours, for 3 or 4 hours. Then you come back, you do the reverse of that, buckle them into the car, bring them home. How long was your outing? Was it 4 hours? Was it 6 hours? Was it even 8 hours? Because you did a long drive and you went, to visit some relatives for the whatever. How much time has your baby been touched and held? And I'm not saying that to you if that's a once in, once in a very long time that happens, but I'm saying it to everybody, all of you out there. We need to touch and hold our babies, not for any la la reason, but for the actual reason that it's how they develop in a healthy way. Physically, they develop healthier with physical touch and moving around on our bodies. Yes, it's nice to be able to pick that car seat up and carry it in without your baby waking up because they fall asleep in the car every time. But if you're doing that 2 or 3 times a day over the course of 8 hours and you're not holding that baby, then that baby is being deprived of something that's really, really necessary. Their emotional development, their social development, obviously, and even their intellectual development can be impaired by that lack of touch. When I was in college many moons ago for early childhood education, one of the things I remember learning, and I can't tell you the study or, exactly where it was, but there was a European orphanage in which they studied children who were not touched because they were in an orphanage. They were not held. They were not, didn't have human contact in that loving, beautiful touch way that most families have. Those children did not flourish. And in fact, some died. We can die from lack of human touch. Like that's how important it is to us. Your child isn't going to die because that happens once or twice in their infancy. But that's to show us how important human touch is. We are meant to be holding our babies. I just can't say that enough. And I think part of the problem is disposable diapers. There's really, really, really good, quote unquote, absorbent disposable diapers out there. You can leave a baby without changing them for hours on end. I used cloth diapers. You got to change them, every couple of peas at least. You can't leave them for hours on end. There was also, and I was just trying to look it up, but I could not find it off the top of my quick reach there. A syndrome that can happen with these babies that are left very often in this situation where they're leaning against, like I said in the column, that hard plastic with a little bit of,
Yeah, they get
padding.
like a flat head in the back.
They get a flat head,
Mm-hmm.
and that to me is indicative of what are we doing to our babies? And are we aware that we're doing it?
Yeah, and honestly, in our society, it's kind of like if you are holding your baby too much, parents will be like, well, you're training them to be carried all the time. And that's not healthy because then you're never going to get a break. But
Yeah.
that's
And
not
that's
true.
actually the opposite of what
Yeah.
happens. The studies show that children who have been in arms, children who have what we now call attachment parenting, they're being held, they're being touched, they're being picked up, they're being responded to every time they cry or ask for something. In those earliest weeks and months, you're responding to that baby's needs. Those children are scoring higher on, tests throughout the years of childhood in various studies that people are doing around the world.
Yeah. So I just want to say if other people are telling you you're holding your baby too much, ignore them because
Yes.
I got that a lot because I wore my baby all the time. And I'd wear my baby when I cooked, I'd wear my baby to go out and walk. And I always got a comment like, you can put her down, or maybe somebody else wanted to hold her, which was fine, but it's okay to hold your baby all the time. You're not, they would say in Spanish, I don't know, I can't think of it in English, mal acostumbrar. You're kind of just training them to want to be carried all the time.
Right.
And no, by bonding and connecting, you're helping them grow their sense of independence and self-esteem for them to branch away from you.
100%. There is an incredible book called The Continuum Concept by Jean Laidlaw, and we can put that in the show notes. I read it when I was holding my baby in the first few weeks of her life, and I just sat in front of my nice warm wood stove in the winter and nursed my baby and drank my water and read this book. And it's incredible. And I really strongly recommend people read it because it's this whole study that happened with a tribe that was in like a rainforest. And what the researchers discovered was that those babies in that tribe were never put down in the first 6 months until they were able to crawl. They were held. And the idea, the continuum concept, the idea is that we are evolving from four-legged animals to two-legged animals. And one of the things to keep in mind is that all other mammals can, when they're born, are either hidden away like in a den or a cave, like a wolf or a bear, or they can get up and find the teat, the mama's, the nourishment from mom, or they can run away. So all other mammals except humans are either hidden away, they can get away, and they can find the source of nourishment that they need. So think about baby goats or baby sheep or horses or cows or whatever. Now, the theory is that we humans are somewhere between a mammal and a marsupial, our marsupial being like a kangaroo who has a pocket. So the baby comes out of the womb, climbs up the mother, tucks away into the pocket, and gets her nourishment and her protection from there. Now, because our human infants cannot get away from danger, they are helpless, absolutely helpless without us, right? They can't get food, they can't get away from danger. So that's the idea behind carrying our babies and strapping them to our bodies, is that we are in the evolutionary phase. And because we have grown our intellect so much, that our brains have grown so much, that this is what the theory came from that book. We're being born part way, like maybe halfway through what would be our gestation period. Because at 9 months, a baby can crawl, it can scurry away from danger, it can come and find the nourishment from mama, right? So we are, because our brains have gotten so big, we have to get born when we get born so that we can still fit through the birth canal. So that was a really interesting thought about the evolution of human beings as a species.
That was very interesting, but it makes sense. And we're steering away from that with these little machines that rock them and sway them the way the mother
Gosh.
does. And
Oh, please
and
don't buy all those machines, people. Hold your baby, get a rocking chair or a glider.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, you can't hold them every single minute of every single
No,
day.
no.
Not at all. We get that. But we can sure aim to hold our babies a lot more than a lot of people are realizing is necessary for their well-being.
And just making baby wearing a norm again and not
Totally.
stop spoiling them, because then they're going to be too used to being carried. They're not going to go to sleep if they're not in somebody's arms. And that's all just with, women having to go to work now and making our babies adjust to our new lifestyles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the studies actually show that the children who receive less touch and get their needs responded to less quickly are the ones that are way more needy of attention. Some people might call it spoiled behavior, right? like the ones that are held and responded to very quickly, they're the ones that are kind of at peace in their world to a much larger extent. So I applaud you for, even in the face of so many people in your world saying, you're going to spoil that baby. Why didn't you put them down? Blah, 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 blah. I heard it too. I got it too. I understand. And yeah, let's make baby wearing a norm. And the other piece I just wanted to touch on again was the whole piece about the off gassing. If you are, you know, car seats are something that you do need to buy new unless it's been your previous child, but they do have expiration dates on them when they're no longer as safe. So you do need to look if you do have a car seat from a previous baby, have a look and see if it's expired or not. But
Or recalls.
Or recalls, yes. Get those items if you do want to have a crib. I mean, I think sometimes the idea of a crib is because we have this whole idea of a cute little baby nursery, you know, in our heads, that's what becoming a parent looks like, is making a pretty nursery for baby. And I never had a nursery for my baby. I never did. But if you do want to get a crib or have a crib, you know, if you're buying new, buy things as early in your pregnancy as possible. Keep them as far away from you as possible so that you're not breathing in those off-gassing fumes either. The off-gassing from the materials they're using now in all of these products is so harsh and toxic and carcinogenic, actually. And I just know this partly because I have now chemical sensitivities in my own body, and it's real. So
Yeah. And just one other thing with when you said nurseries, it reminded me of it, but changing tables. That is
yes, I thought
something
of that earlier too.
that is something that's just very aesthetically pleasing if you're putting together the nursery. But when your baby goes potty, you're going to change them wherever they are, on the couch, anywhere, on the bed.
Yeah, you can put a little bath towel that you put on the floor. I mean, probably your floor is not filthy if you have a new baby around. It's going to be filthy unless you have pets, then it might be a little dirtier. But in the middle of your bed is a great changing spot. On the couch is a great changing spot until they learn to roll over. But you're going to be aware of that if you're going to change them on a changing table too. You're not going to have a strap to tie them down on the bed or the couch. But, you know, the rule of thumb there is just never take both hands off your baby. Always have everything within reach. And, you know, I had a basket that was my baby changing basket with everything I needed in it. And if I needed to change her, and we were in the other room or whatever, then I would bring her and we'd go get the basket and we'd do, you know, and then it's just easy to move around with you. Or you can have little change stations in your house. You can have one station beside the couch and one station beside the bed, just what you need for the moment. And just never leave them unattended. But yes, thank you for saying that. That is a whole nother item that is not necessary. We got to bring down our consumerism levels, and starting with new parents is a great place to start.
Yes, it is. Please try to get all the hand-me-downs, and there's so many, or Facebook Marketplace you can find if you need baby gear and stuff like that. There's a lot, and
secondhand.
They use them such a short period of time, and then they phase out of it, and then you can pass it down. And it's a baby that used it before. It's not like it went through a sewage system, or you wash it, sanitize it, give it a good wash, and you use it for maybe maximum 3 months, and then it's on to the next thing.
So one thing I will say about cleanliness is you might want to check if you're buying things secondhand, if there were smokers or pets in the household, because some people have sensitivities to pets. And also cigarette smoke lingers on
Yeah.
anything fabric forever. So I would encourage you not to purchase from those places.
The main point is carry your baby when you can in the beginning, because it's so important, and it's important for you to bond with your baby. I know when I had my daughter and she came out, I was like, who is she? and
Yeah.
you need that time to bond, because you're
Yeah.
two people,
Mm-hmm.
separate people, getting to know each other, even though
Mm-hmm.
it just came out of us.
Totally. It's so important. And yeah, maybe we'll do a whole nother episode on, what to use, what products to use on your baby's body, because that's important too. There's
Mhm.
so many chemicals out there that are not necessarily the best. They're highly marketed. So, people buy them. They're cheap because so people buy them. And we can look at that in another episode if we think that might be helpful.
All
So
right.
thank you. We're just getting ready here. We're zooming in on preparing for birth because our mama Serena is getting ready to have a baby. And when this one comes out, boy, oh boy, I mean, we're, a few weeks before due date, but by the time this episode drops, who knows? Maybe we'll have that baby already. Thanks so much, everybody. We love you. Take good care of yourselves.
So here are my 3 gems from today's episode. Number 1 being, if you are buying new items, please give them some time to off gas, take them out of the box, out of the plastic, and let them off gas in a separate room before the baby arrives. Number 2 is, the first few months are all about connecting with your baby. So make sure you wear your baby, get that skin to skin, hold them, respond to their needs, and just bond with them as much as possible, because you are 2 strangers getting to know each other. And number 3, if people are telling you to put your baby down, don't listen to them. If they're telling you how to do things and you're comfortable with doing it your way, you do it your way. Just accept their advice and say, okay, thank you, and do what you want to do. You don't have to listen to them. It's your baby, it's your relationship, and be proud of what you're doing, because you're doing a great job, especially if you're listening to us. I'm just kidding. But thanks for tuning in. We'll hope you tune in again next week for another episode. Take care.
Thanks for being here with us in our virtual village. We'd love you to join our Facebook group at The Village Parenting Community and on Instagram at The Village Parenting Pod.
And if you enjoy our podcast, please like, subscribe, and share. Also, if you have a moment, please leave us a review. It makes a big difference for us in reaching more parents out there who may be feeling alone.
Please direct message us to connect also. We absolutely love hearing from you. And until next week, we'll be keeping it real and raw right here with you.
This podcast is sponsored by the Singing Alma's private parent coaching and workshop offerings, and also by Enlightened Designs for Crafty Mamas.